Hey, dear Tyler, good morning. And how are you doing? I hope you're good. I hope you're fine. I really hope you've been having a good week so far. Yeah, so how has the episode been? The previous episode, how is it? I got quite a lot of feedback, which is cool. Um, I think it's a big deal for everyone. Trying to realize the depth of forgiveness and like what it really entails to forgive people. It's a big big deal, very big deal. But yeah, God is helping us. God is God is faithful, right? I believe that He's bringing this to our attention because He wants to provide help, right? He wants to provide help. So this is the thing about God that I think I've learned over time, that when God brings something to your attention, it's not to bring to your awareness that He's aware, right? That He knows you're doing wrong. No, He actually wants to provide help for you for that. So when He's calling our bluffs, or when He's mentioning maybe our cases, or certain things, or making an emphasis on a particular attitude, character, um, He is trying to bring help our way, right? So please and please, Tyler, open your heart throughout the whole series. Let's not be stiff-necked and be like, when you're done talking, I have what I'm going to do in my mind. No, I believe that God really wants to help us, and there is grace to be helped. There is grace to be helped, right? When Paul was teaching at a particular time, I believe he was probably teaching on faith. And then he said that he looked upon the man and he perceived that the man had faith to be healed. And he acted on that faith. So every time the word of God comes, or when somebody shares a thought, there is a grace, an empowerment, an enablement that helps you to live out that particular thing at that time, right? So let's be open for it, right? For me as an individual too, in as much as I'm the one sharing the thoughts, I know that I also have a responsibility to hold myself accountable to these things that I'm saying. There are also certain things that I say that also come as like a shock for me. Dear Tyler is God inspired, right? And even as I speak, I leave my heart really open for the Spirit of God to also, speak through me and say certain things. So it's not just out of the abundance of maybe things that I've learned, things that I've studied. No, I believe that there's spontaneous moments where the Spirit of God really, really just releases His heart for us. And so I'm also personally keen to listen and trusting God to draw strength from it, right? So we're continuing on our forgiveness series, and last week, sorry, on Monday, forgive me, on Monday, I'm so used to the whole Thursday thing. So on Monday, we spoke about I forgive you. Now today's topic is a lot more personal, right? And it's I forgive me. I forgive me. So on Monday, we really took out time to analyze other people, the offenses that they committed, the things that they've done, how they've let us down, how they've broken us, and all of those things. But then let's talk about ourselves now. Do you know there are times that we have done like crazy things that have offended people, and things that have affected our own lives personally? Now, I'm not sure, but I don't really think people get to talk about this a lot. Now, this is where I really, 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 see, as I'm making the emphasis, I really believe in the ministry of therapists. I really believe in the ministry of therapists. And I'm going to recommend one now, right here on this podcast, right now. Her name is Rinret Gofwan Dari, right? She is an exception. Wow, that's terrible. She is an exceptional exceptional therapist. She loves God, uses godly principles, but then she goes deep into the minds of people and really, really corrects a lot of things that have gone wrong with people. My number one, what did I say? My number one recommendation for therapy is very fun. And you could check her on Instagram. She's there. I think I would also I would post her link on Instagram. I'll share it on as many platforms as possible. Connect with Winred. She would help you in ways you cannot imagine, right? Because there are a whole lot of things that we have done that we blame ourselves for. And because we have held those things so highly in our minds, they create blockades, right? They create blockades for us that stop us from making progress, stop us from making commitments, stop us from believing in ourselves, right? When I said that men will be men, right? And people, when I said that men will be men, and I said that people would always have this human nature in them, that also included us, right? It's being alive is a miracle, and it comes with its own challenges, because life is not just it's not just structured in a way that if you do this, this is what's going to happen. Our environments are different. Our upbringing is different. The community that we're part of is different. Our social upbringing is different. The social engineering that happened to our minds is also very different, Tyler. So naturally, the information that you have available to you, the opportunities, the environment, the systems that are present have a way of affecting the decisions that you make. And in this life, you will make a foolish decision. You may make a decision that is detrimental to your destiny, detrimental to your future, detrimental to your job, detrimental to your ministry, detrimental to your life in general, right? Your ambitions, your aspirations. You would probably make such life-defining decisions, right? And those decisions may be very, very wrong decisions. They may even be try your best to water down this word. They may even be stupid, very foolish decisions. But we need to find ways of telling ourselves that I'm human, and I made a mistake, and this mistake doesn't define me. This mistake doesn't define me. It's very easy for us to encourage other people. Now, I'm saying this from like a very, very strong standpoint of experience. I do, dear Tyler. I don't know. I think I have probably reached up to 50 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. I started in June. And I've basically done, if not almost every week. Maybe I'm clocking up to 50 episodes on Dear Tyler now. Probably clocking up to 50 episodes on Dear Tyler. And I've used the whole of Dear Tyler to, encourage and speak, tell you guys that you're the best, tell you that you are this, you are awesome. I can tell you that your life is not defined by all of these things. And then somehow, like when I'm done, there are certain days that I'm like, Pinga, you just messed up. You just wrecked your life. You've just entered into crash mode. You're stalling in your destiny. It's easier to encourage people. It's easier to give people the solutions to their lives. And then it's harder for you to be able to encourage yourself, to give yourself the same mercy that you give to other people, right? It's very hard sometimes to do that. Though I think there was a time where I think I shared about this. I can't remember which of the topics, but there was a time that David found himself in a very difficult situation, whether it was his mistake or not. But then he was so downcast, and it said that David encouraged himself in the Lord. David had mastered the art of building people, turning the riffraffs of his generation, turning the scoundrels, yes, the the rough people, the people that they'd given up on their future, people that had written off on them and everything. David had the art of picking up all of those people from discouragement, building them and creating them into mighty men. But then there was a time where he was challenging his heart and he was downcast, and he had to carry those same principles and apply to himself. The people that could have helped him were not there. There was no encouragement, all of those things. And David had to encourage himself in the Lord. You need to learn, right, Tyler? We need to learn how to also forgive ourselves, right? The mercy that we have graciously shown to others, we should also graciously show to ourselves. Jesus made mention of something. He said that the whole law and the prophets, right, are summarized into 2 commandments, right? Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul, with all your might, right? And then love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. In as much as Jesus said there's a new commandment that I give unto you, right? As I have loved you, love one another, right? I don't think it necessarily stops us from using that line of scripture where he says that love your neighbor as yourself. He's trying to say that if you deserve something, other people deserve it too, right? Now look at it from the context that until you have experienced something for yourself, it's really, really difficult for you to give it out. Until you have experienced it for yourself, by yourself. I can almost assure you that the people that find it very difficult to love are people that find it difficult to love themselves. Very difficult. The people that find it a challenge to love, are people that are struggling with love themselves. People that, there are a lot of people that, because of the experiences in their life, they've devalued themselves. So it's not like the world doesn't see the value in you, but because you don't see the value in you, right, you project it into your mental thoughts. And so every action that somebody takes that is in opposition to you, or maybe your craft, or maybe your gift, or your calling, it looks like I'm not valuable. Do you understand? I'm not valuable. So if I was valuable, people would have held me in higher esteem and all. Now, it's not being proud, having this pride or being puffed up and be like, this is me, this is how I do things. Nah, it's really, really not about that, right? What it is really more about is understanding the value that God has placed in you, and being appreciative of the fact that God doesn't make second bests. So because you made a mistake or because you did something wrong, that's not your defining moment, right? It's not definitive about you. It can only describe an occurrence in your life, right? It has never defined your destiny. So you are not your mistake. You just made a mistake. That mistake does not define you. It only describes an occurrence in your life. And it's also a revelation to what you should not do another time. Does that make sense? Right? Now, you need to learn to forgive yourself. You need to learn to forgive yourself. If you always carry the load, if you always carry the baggage of the things that you have done in the past, they would always pop up in your future. Memories are seeds. Memories are seeds. Memories are seeds. If you give them, if you give them that free playing ground, right, they would sow themselves in every aspect of your life. Sow themselves in every aspect of your life. right? They'll start popping up in all of these places, start doing things, and start affecting you. Remember how I said on Monday, right, that offense has a way of stopping you from receiving from other people, right? Offense and resentment for yourself and your actions stops you, right, from being a blessing to yourself, stops you from being a blessing to the world. There are a lot of things that you rob the world of because of personal resentment. So we really need to get to the point where we forgive ourselves. Imagine if Peter, right, held on to the fact that he denied Jesus 3 times. Do you think he would have been bold to speak about Jesus? If I'm correct, if I got it well, Jesus, after the whole denial stuff, and then after Jesus' resurrection, he met Jesus at the seashore, and Jesus asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" If I'm correct, he felt like Jesus asked him 3 times because he denied him 3 times, and it was like, "Abba, Master, what do you mean by this?" And I really believe that Jesus was asking him like an honest question. Do you understand? But because I feel, I'm not saying that that's it, but I feel because he kept it so much in his heart, he implied Jesus' statement to be like, I'm aware of the things and your capabilities, right? You betrayed me before, so I'm asking you 3 times so that whenever you know that you're capable of all these things. And I don't really think that that's what Jesus was out to do. No. But because those things had held him down, I believe that thought had really crippled his mind. He still felt like he was being judged based on that he was being judged based on that. You need to forgive yourself, Tyler. See, others may not forgive you, right? But once you've sought forgiveness from them, you've sought forgiveness from God. Also learn to forgive yourself, especially if you were the offender, or probably that your actions, right, led to the occurrence, right? You didn't interpret your actions, or you didn't do things properly, right? You have to learn to forgive yourself, Tyler, and say like, yeah, I messed up before, and I did like real rubbish. But I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm moving on. So Jesus comes down from the mountain with Peter, James, and John. After the transfiguration, finds out that his disciples are struggling with healing a demon-possessed child, and Jesus is like, how long will I be with you guys? Come on, you could do more. And they were like, but Master, what happened? And he said that this one doesn't come out but by prayer and fasting. Do you understand? So imagine if at the end of the day they held on to that experience and be like, man, remember the last time that we prayed for a demon-possessed person? This is what happened to us. So there's no point. They would have missed out on the potential of seeing God's power at work in their life. There is a grace that the Lord deposited in them. Yes, they made a mistake. They didn't apply the principles well, right? But it's a mistake. It doesn't mean that they're incapable of performing those tasks that the Lord has asked them to do. So imagine if they didn't learn to let go of those things and move on. So think about Peter. Peter is like an amazing example because he was probably amongst the bravest of the disciples. He really knew how to take risks. And we learn a lot from the life of Peter because he was brave enough to allow us learn, and then also, for us to glean from his mistakes. And so Peter was in the boat with the disciples and everything. And Jesus, the master that he is, was walking on water, literally passing the disciples and all. I don't know if that was deliberate. Something tells me it was deliberate. But anyway, so he passed them, and then they're like, "Isn't that Jesus?" And Peter asked, "Master, are you the one?" He was like, "Yes." And Peter was like, "If you're the one, tell me to come and join you." And he said, "Okay, I'll come now." Right, so come. And Peter started walking on water. And then he turned around and he saw the waves, everything. And then he started sinking. He started sinking. Said, "Master, help me." And Jesus comes and picks him up. It was never recorded that Jesus came and picked him into the boat. Jesus came and picked him from the water. So it means that Peter walked on water twice. The mistake didn't define Peter. The mistake expressed an occurrence in Peter's life, taught him a lesson, never defined him, because he still walked on water. And I'm sure he and Jesus walked back together into the boat, and then the boat immediately arrived at the other side of the lake. Do not allow your experiences define you. We need to learn to forgive ourselves, right? Paul teaching us, and he makes a very, very profound statement. He said, "Forgetting those things that are behind, right? I press on towards the mark for the higher call." I put my focus, I put my gaze on what is more important. Whatever it is in the past that tries to make me feel like I am worthless and I am not good, I let go of it. I put it behind me. And then I press on, I press on, I press on. I am human, and I'm capable of doing wrong. I'm capable of making mistakes. I'm capable of being erroneous in my actions, right? But then I'm not going to use it to define me. I'm not going to allow it to stop me from doing all that I need to do. Do you understand? I'm not going to allow that at all. You might have broken a promise. You might have broken a trust. And maybe because of that, you've lost some certain opportunities. Some certain doors have been closed, right? And maybe you don't have access to those people again. It's sad that that's all happening. Maybe it's a mistake you can't correct. Forgive yourself, Tyler, and move on. As you tell yourself, you said, "Tyler, I forgive you for doing all of these things. Binga, I forgive you for doing all of these things." Your intention was not to be reckless. Your intention was not to be your intention was not to make a mistake. You really did hope for the best. But at the end of the day, I'm finding out that, man, this wasn't the best. So Tyler, I forgive you. Binga, I forgive you. Let's move on from that. Maybe you made a mistake in your relationship, and you're the reason why the relationship scattered, just got wrecked. Tell yourself, "Tyler, I forgive you. Let's move on. Let's learn from the mistake, and let's fashion something that will stand the test of time, fashion something that will be beautiful forever," right? You've lost opportunities, and opportunity is not there again. Say, "Tyler, I forgive you," right? We made a mistake, but come on, let's fix it up now. What can we do now, right, that will be beneficial to us? When you live in your mistakes, right, they become weights. And so Paul teaches us and says that letting go of every weight that easily besets us. You've got to lay aside everything that drags you back. Everything, Tyler, that drags you back. You've got to learn to lay it aside. If you're climbing a mountain, right, the longer you climb, the lighter you need to be. There's certain things. So I love watching documentaries, and I get to watch documentaries of like all of these mountain climbers and all. And usually, right, they have, like, okay, so climbing Mount Everest, nobody climbs it like in a day. They climb it in sections. They climb it at different hours at the time. So it's like an expedition. You may be climbing Everest for like a week or something. And at different points, when you start your journey, right, you carry a whole lot of things. But then usually the people that reach the summit, they are very light. So what happens is, the higher you climb, right, the less gear you need for it. You need to be as lightweight as possible. So at every point, there are different camps. At different camps, you drop certain things. You only carry the necessities that you need. Do you understand? So there are things that could have helped you at point 1, but there will be a hindrance at point 2. You drop it. You drop it so that you become as lightweight as possible. As lightweight as possible. And so this is something that we need to learn to develop, right, in our hearts too. Especially when it comes to mistakes, Tyler. Especially when it comes to mistakes, right? We need to learn to quietly trust God for help, ask God for forgiveness, and then we also forgive ourselves too, Tyler. It's very important. So what are some of the things, Tyler, that you need to forgive yourself over? What are some of those things? You could write them down. Mistakes and things that have held you from doing, a lot of things. Maybe these things have caused fear, because you feel like there's going to be a repetition. You feel that there's going to be a repetition of all of these occurrences. Maybe things are going to go wrong again. Write it down and say, I forgive myself. 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 And I'm moving on. Please and please do not miss any of the series, any of these episodes that we're doing. Some of them may seem like repetition, right? But then the more we hear, the more it becomes solidified in our hearts, right? The more we hear, the more it becomes solidified in our hearts. On Monday, I'll be sharing something really, really deep with us. Something really, really deep with us. You would really enjoy it. Please and please, right? Don't miss any of these moments. And, share this with other people, because a whole lot of people must be going through a lot. They're battling either forgiving others, forgiving themselves, trying to remember how valuable they are, right? Just learn to forgive yourself, Tyler, right? You deserve forgiveness too. So make sure that you are a benefactor, you are a beneficiary. Rather, you're a beneficiary of your own forgiveness, right? So please, like I said, I'd love you. Let's share this with others. Let's get the word out. It would be amazing, right? So thank you so much, Tyler, for listening. Remember, I love you, I believe in you, and I'm always rooting for you, right? Have an awesome day and an awesome weekend, and see you on Monday. Bye.